students, welcome to class 31. Okay, so today we go for the last concept, that is your organo copper reagent. Okay, the organocopper. So in the previous video we have learned regarding the palladium, iron is over. So today the copper we are going to see, and this is cheap in nature and we are going to get very easily this copper. And it is if you see, it's a very less electropositive in nature. Okay, so if you see the copper, it is a less electropositive if you compare to lithium, magnesium. And if you see the carbon to copper bond, it is less polarized. Okay, it is less polarized than if you consider the copper, the carbon to lithium or carbon to magnesium bond here. Now if you see the relative reactivity of this carbon to copper, that is copper organo copper reagent. So if acid chloride RCOCl, acid chloride always has the greatest reactivity than the aldehyde, then tosylates, if any tosylates group is there, so followed by iodides, then epoxides. Okay, so epoxides is having the greatest reactivity, followed by the bromides. Okay, then ketones, followed by ketones, esters, then nitriles. Okay, so this is the reactivity of the organocopper reagents, where the acid chloride is going to react very fastly than the, and the last least is the nitriles. Okay, and if you see the reaction of the alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compounds, alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compounds. So if you see, the organocopper always prepare 1,4 addition. Okay, this prepare 1,4 addition then 1,2 addition. So this is very much important. So 1,4 addition is prepared by this alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compounds by the organocopper, then 1,2 addition, which is great preferred by the Grignard's reagent. Okay, so Grignard's reagent is going to follow the 1,2 addition, while 1,4 addition is been shown by the copper reagent. That's the best. That is a Gilman reagent, we say. Okay, so copper reagent is nothing but Gilman reagent. Now the organocopper reagents, okay, so it's represented as RCU or R2CU, like that. So R alkyl or aryl, and you can say metal organo cuprates also can be in this way. So M stands for metal and R2CU. So this is metal organo cuprate, homo and hetero cuprate. We can going to see the homo cuprate or hetero cuprate organic reagents we are going to observe. Okay, so we start with, so we will go for the Gilman's reagent, so which is a homo cuprate reagent. Homo cuprate reagent we are going to show like R2CuLi or R2CuMgX here. So Grignard's reagent, so lithium, magnesium. So we can see lithium or magnesium and and copper, like diorgano copper reagents, where you can take R as a alkyl or aryl moiety. This was discovered by the Gilman. Okay, discovered by the name itself is there. So discovered by the Gilman by adding dimethyl copper, which is a dimethyl copper lithium, Gilman's reagent. So by adding the copper 1 iodide, okay, to methyl lithium or magnesium. So this is how, in the presence of Grignard's, in the presence of ether and tetrahydrofuran and temperature of -78 degree. So you can take it as here like this Rm. So where M you can take it as a lithium or magnesium halide, and when you treat this with copper 1 salt of either bromide or iodide. Okay, so in the presence of ether or THF. Okay, So you can take ether or THF in the presence of you can say minus 78 degrees centigrade. So there will be elimination of metal bromide or iodide to give you RCuN times. This is a polymeric insoluble. This is a polymeric insoluble product you are going to get. And now if you treat this with excess of aryl the metal aryl, so you are or alkyl, you are going to get your that is your R2CuM, which is soluble now. This is soluble, okay. And you can see now it is going to dissolve, and this polymeric form is going to dissolve when you add the excess of the metal alkyl, and you can see you are going to get this R2CuM, okay. So this is what your Gilman's reagent is been synthesized, okay. So you can see here once again any metal alkyl metal, if you treat with this iodide, copper iodide or bromide, so in the presence of ether and tetrahydrofuran, or in the presence at the condition minus 78 degree, so there will be elimination of the metal iodide here, metal this one. And finally you can see here this type of polymeric chain is got of this alkyl copper. So this is insoluble, but as you are going to add the excess of Rm here, so now it is going to dissolve this insoluble product to the soluble product, that is your Gilman's reagent. So this is how the Gilman's reagent is produced. Now if you go for the reaction wise the usefulness of this, so first we can show off tandem reaction, okay. Tandem reaction, TANDEM. So where you can see the role of this you can show. Yes, you can take like this oxygen, okay, and this CH3 CH3 twice CuLi in the presence of THF minus 78 degrees centigrade. Now this is a compound here. Now here CH3 is going to attack here, and this CO2 is going to attack here, and you are going to get a 5-membered ring here, something like that, like this, okay. So here there will be, okay, like this, and you get here COOCH3 and here something like that. So 45% yield you are going to get this product. So where the CH3 group from this is going to attack here, and there is a cyclization, and this product is obtained 45% yield, which is a cyclopentanone. Okay. So this is the this is how the Gilman's reagent is utilized or useful in preparation of the organic in the organic synthesis. Now if we go for some of the other reactions, so you can show of the conjugate addition of 1,2 or 1,4 addition, 1,2 or 1,4 addition. Now if you take this compound, so you take this compound as here and here Y, and you can take this as oxygen here, a ketone compound here, and when you treat this with the nucleophile in the presence of 1,4 addition, now if you take, so if I name this as 1, 2, 3, 4, so what I am going to get is something like that, O minus, and nucleophile is going to attack here, and this is what 1,4 addition. So if you say this one, if you take 1, 2, 3, 4, so here the nucleophile is going to attack here, and you can see the bond is shifted to here, okay, and this bond is shifted here like this, okay. And this type of mechanism happens only when you take for the soft nucleophile, okay. This happens only for the soft nucleophile, if you take amine RNH2 or sometimes RNH, RSH, such type of soft nucleophile is going to happen, is going to lead this one, which is a enolate anion, which is a vinolate anion, and this happens only is this soft nuclei is produced by your Gilman reagent. Okay, so in the presence of Gilman reagent, you can see this 1,4 addition is going to happen for this. If I take is in reverse case, that is a nucleophile in 1,2 addition. Okay, so 1,2 addition, which is a hard nucleophile, which is taken by hard nucleophile, and this is given by your Grignard's reagent. So like hydride or organolithium or any Grignard's reagent. So this is producing hard nucleophile, so which gives you 1,2 addition. So 1,2 addition means now you are going to get this product, something like that. So nucleophile, this is O minus, and you can see this remains as it is, and why you can take it here. So here now nucleophile is added to 1,2 position here. So here nucleophile is added, and this is here lysis, and this remains as it is. So this product I am going to get if it is 1,2 addition here, and this is obtained by the Grignard's reagent. So here you can see the beautiful what to say, the difference between the difference between the Grignard's reagent here as well as the Gilman's reagent. So Gilman's reagent always prefers for 1,4 addition, while as Grignard's reagent prefers for, which is giving you hard nucleophile, is prefers for 1,2 addition here, and Gilman reaction prefers for 1,4 addition, which is producing the nucleophile which is soft in nature. Okay, so this is what the difference between between the two, which is helpful for understanding for 2 marks question. Now if you see one more example, you take this cyclohexanone, it's a ketone, and if you treat with this CuLi, Gilman's reagent, Me2CuLi, followed by hydrolysis, acid hydrolysis, so you are going to see that you are going to get here double bond is going to break, and you are going to get 3-methyl cyclohexanone, 3-methyl cyclohexanone. Okay, so that is your 1,4 addition, 1 2 3 4. So 1,4 addition is going to happen here. Why? Because you are taking the reagent which is a Gilman's reagent here. Now if you same if you treat this with methyl magnesium bromide, okay, and same thing, acidification hydrolysis, so you are going to get this compound, so where this is remaining like as if S1, and methyl is going to attach here, and the nucleophile is going to attach here. So this is your Grignard's reagent which will give you the hard nucleophile, and you are going to see there is 1,2 addition here where nucleophile is added in this in here in the 2 position here. So this Me, which is acting as a nucleophile here, CH3. So what happens here, so methyl magnesium bromide, it gets the negative charge totally here with negative, and MgBr gets the positive charge here. So that's why this acts as a very hard nucleophile, whereas in copper lithium, if you see, so copper is there, CH3 Li something, so there is partial positive and partial negative charge in here. So there is no that's why we say it's a soft nucleophile is generated here, positive partial negative and positive charge here. But whereas here you can see totally there is a shift of the negative charge on this R component substituent, and that's why it becomes a hard nucleophile in the Grignard's reagent. So this is best example which we can show for this Gilman's reagent. Now if you see the steric hindrance, role of steric hindrance, so if you take this compound, okay, so where you can see this is a methyl group here, and here you take as a keto, that is and you treat this with Gilman's reagent, that is dimethyl copper lithium, in the presence of THF tetrahydrofuran 78 degrees centigrade minus, followed by H plus and hydrolysis H2O. So you are going to get like this. So this remains as usual behind, and you can see here that there will be attack of the methyl group from the downside. Down attack will be there, this is up, and you can see here down, and this remains as it is. Okay, and here there is a bond here, and you can see that 91% yield you are going to get when this compound is treated with this and downward attack with there. That is a, you can see here stereo and regio selective addition is going to happen here. Stereo and regio selective mode is happening here. So this is how a best example we can show how the Gilman's reagent is going to act here. One more, if for the sterically hindrance, if you take this compound cyclohexene and double bond in this way, and if you treat this with N-butyl magnesium bromide, okay, N-butyl magnesium bromide in the presence of manganese chloride, MnCl2 along with CuI, okay, that is 3% of copper iodide, and tetrahydrofuran in the presence of 0 degree centigrade as a temperature maintaining and 2 hours effluxion. So this is your Grignard's reagent is taken in the presence of copper iodide, so butyl lithium. So you are going to see, you are going to get the compound or the product in this way, where you are going to attach here, this is going to attach, and you are going to get here N butyl like this. Okay, so this is how you can see that. So this is been this here, the butyl N butyl is attached here in this case like this. Okay, and this is double bond is vanished, and you are going to get this this product, which is 94% product in the presence of Grignard's reagent, in the presence of Grignard's reagent plus copper iodide. MnCl2 manganese chloride is here, MnCl2, okay, which is taken in the 3% in a 30% MnCl2, 3% copper iodide, and this is what you are going to get the compound here from a sterically hindered enones. Okay, so this is nothing but a sterically hindered enone, 6-membered compound. Okay, sterically hindered enone, and you are going to get this 94% product of this. Okay, this is what one example you can show, followed by one more example you can show of like this. Take this compound, okay, and when you treat this in the presence of N-butyl copper lithium, which is a Gilman's reagent, in the presence of trimethyl sulfoxide TMSO and tetrahydrofuran and minus 78 degrees centigrade. So if you maintain this, so you can going to see something TMS with having the hydrogen, something like that. Now if you hydrolyze this in here, so you are going to get, and 80% you can going to see aldehyde is going to happen here. Now this is also a beautiful example where you can see this compound on treating with this Gilman's reagent THF, N-butyl is going to add here. So here you can see the N-butyl group is added here, and the TMSO is going to be added in this part. Okay, so here OTMSO, so here OTMSO, and the butyl group is added from this here, and finally this on hydrolysis. Okay, you can see you are going to get here aldehyde C double bond OH. Okay, so this is 80% yield you are going to get it. So here 95% you are going to get here this added butyl group, and this is the yield you are going to get 95%, where the N-butyl group is added, and this you are going to get along with this after hydrolysis 80% of this product you are going to get here like this. Similarly, if we go for another example of this Gilman's reagent, so you can take this example, one more example, where this is a compound, enolate compound. Okay, and when you treat this with butyl copper lithium in the presence of methyl iodide, ammonium chloride, and H2O, so you are going to see that you are going to get this compound along with the here the upward attack of CH3, and this is a backward attack of N-butyl here. Okay, so this is down attack of N-butyl, and this is a major isomer major isomer obtained here. So you can see here, so whenever this type of enolate is been treated with the Gilman's reagent with the N-butyl copper lithium in the presence of methyl iodide ammonium chloride hydrolysis, you can see the methyl group, there is a isomeric form here where the upside the methyl group is added here, and downward side you can see here N-butyl group is added. So this is also a best example where we get this product in the presence of the Gilman's reagent here. Now if you see the reaction with acid chloride, so we can take it COCl here, so with the nitro group attached here, that is your 4-nitrobenzoyl chloride, 4-nitrobenzoyl chloride. So when this you treat this with your Me2CuLi Gilman's reagent dimethyl copper lithium, so you can see here, so there is a generation of this product, that is NO2. So this is what you are going to get, and which is nothing but 4-nitroacetophenone, 4-nitroacetophenone, a ketone is obtained here on treatment with this Gilman's reagent. So this example is also a very beautiful example where you can show, okay, whenever this acid chloride is treated with this. Now even the epoxides, if you see the reaction with epoxides, if you take this compound, something, if you take like this, okay, in the presence of dimethyl copper lithium, again hydrolysis, you can see something, you are going to get alcohol here. So this is what this is a terminal epoxide, okay. So terminal epoxide like this. So when it is treated with your Gilman's reagent, so this is going to happen to get alcohol here. So we are going to get this compound on the addition of this. Is it right? So this is what one of the example we can show with related to the epoxide reaction in the presence of Gilman's reagent. Again, if you go for further reactions, that is, if you go for reaction with vinyl halide, so the coupling of here alkenyl bromide, coupling of alkenyl bromide or iodide, okay, with organocuprate, so this is what happens, it proceeds with which is a highly stereo selectivity, selective in nature. For example, you take this N-butyl, and when you treat this with N-butyl copper lithium, the presence of Et2O minus 95 degrees centigrade or 45 degrees centigrade for 1 hour, you can see that you are going to get this product. Okay, so you are going to get around 71% of this product, which is a trans. Okay, so where you can see this N-butyl is going to attack here, and this is going to be is rid off. So this is what you can see, the coupling of alkene bromide or iodide with the organocopper cuprate, they're highly selective, and you are going to see that the trans product of this is going to happen here. So here also we can see, if you go for the mechanism, so you can see the oxidative addition and reductive elimination type of steps is going to take place in this case, and we are going to obtain this product. Okay, so like this in this video I have taken some of the important reactions in the organic synthesis with the help of organocopper reagent here. In the next slide, in the next video, we will go for some more reactions of the organo copper, and we will wind off this where we are going to complete the unit 2. Okay, so this is what So in the next video, we will go for some more. Few are there, only 4 to 5 reactions, whatever it may be, of organocopper, and we will finish it off. Thank you very much.